Hey, we are live for today's workout, and today we are looking at how to sissy squat. And Hulk Hogan, that's what this is about. He didn't like sissies, but he did like a knee drop. And the sissy squat is we're going to require us to do a sort of like controlled, not like a knee drop, like in WWF, like we're going to hurt someone, but a bit like a control like that to do in calisthenics, where to control our movements. It's a really nice squat variation that is going to take us outside of our normal sort of weight distribution towards the heels, our normal sort of squat position where we're looking at to stay in these shapes. We're going to now look at what is it like to really load up through into the toes, and it's going to load up the quads in this sissy squat. Let me know in the comments so far, has anyone tried sissy squats before? And are we ready to sort of get started with our sissy squats? Had someone actually on Instagram, I can't remember his name, said, oh, you spent too much time talking at the start, just tell me what to do. And I was thinking, geez, all right, just trying to like build a bit of camaraderie. And I thought, you know what? I bet that guy's got white socks on, hasn't he? Check these babies out. What sock game are you coming out with me today? Yeah, they've got a bit of white on, but they got dolphins on. And everyone knows dolphins are everyone's favourite fish. They're not even a fish, are they? They're a mammal, but they swim. They're my favourite thing in the sea. Swam with them once. People you love the bands are good. Joining Jacko for a sneak peek, but no abs Monday. Just have to do legs. Yes, Rich, that's what it is. We're not going. We're having a break from the abs, so they were still on fire from last Monday. But we're going to get started now. Buffon did his first one last week. Awesome. Right. So no white socks. If you've got white socks on, get them off. We'll get started with today's sissy squat. So, do we know what a sissy squat is? People have been through what a sissy squat looks like. So rather than our normal squat, say where we have our feet are going to be hip width apart, and we're going to sit back, hinge at their hip ever so slightly before we break at the knee. And our normal squat, we would sit into a position somewhere in there where the weight distribution is towards the heel rather than the forefront or rather towards the toes. In our sissy squat, we're going to literally do the opposite. We're going to take and push our hips backwards and our knees forward, and we're going to come up onto the toes, and we're going to come down into a position where the knees are right down in front and right up on my toes. And we're looking at being able to, yes, we are loading up the quads, but we're also lengthening them in that shape, because we're going into knee flexion, and we're trying not to flex at the hip. We're trying to keep those hips up. So we're going to build up this slowly and progressively. Are you ready? Can I hear you? Any WWF fans out there? It was WWF when I was watching Hulk Hogan, not WWE, really. Right. So sissy squats. Apologies. Right. No more rubbish chat. We're into the full sissy squats now. Okay. So our starting point is we need to get used to taking some load through the front of these toes. So you're going to come down onto the floor on all fours to start with, and rather than the toes being flat behind you, I want you to tuck them underneath. And all we're going to do is just really nicely in control, just rock back a little bit. And what I want to see is that particularly big toe flexor. So your toes are then in this nice extended position. That big toe flexor is going to be getting a bit of a stretch. And if you tight through the bottom of your feet, one thing you could do is stand on a massage ball and get to loosen up some of that plantar fascia. That's basically the tissue underneath the bottom of there that gets all tight and stuck down when we don't move it through range. And if you wear big fat shoes and if you wear white socks, you'll probably have tight feet and you need to work on it. So just rocking back forwards and backwards. That feels good. Then I'm actually going to come back and I want you to then sit. Now again, we're looking a little bit like the bottom of that sissy squat, a tiny bit. But now we're taking, you're going to feel here, not much load going through, we're just trying to stretch. When you now put your bum on your heels, you're going to feel a little bit of them, like, can you take and support some load through those toes whilst they're in that extended position? From there, we're just going to look at coming up and then back down to that shape. We'll just go through a few of those. Nice and controlled as we come back down. Just again, feeling that tension through the bottom of the feet, particularly that big toe flexor. I'm holding onto here. I'm thinking about, we said it wasn't corner Monday, but when we're going to be in this shape, I must maintain, for my sissy squat, I must maintain some nice alignment through this trunk. So I am going to be controlling myself in this position. It's not like a core workout, but I am maintaining some level of break. So you see that last one, I started to lean back before coming down. So rather than just going straight down to there, I'm going to push my hips forward, engage that midsection, squeeze that bum. You're going to keep these straight for as long as you can, and then control back down. Come back to the start, lower down, just bum on, check it's tight, out tight, ready to take a punch, all the way back, control back down. And we're going to do, I want you to do 5 of these, and each one, we're going to control down. And we are breaking the hip when we get to the bottom. But I want you to gradually, on each rep, so this is rep number 2, we're going to try and keep these up, keep up, and only break later. We'll go for rep 3, keep them up, keep them up, keep them up. You'll feel the quads are stretching as we're lengthening through there, but we're creating tension. Control down, so we're lengthening them, but we're strengthening them at the same time. Last 2, if you want, you might find it's going to be a little bit easier with the knees a little bit wider to release some of that tension on the quads. The narrower they are, the closer together they are, the more strain is going to go through them. Last one. So can we come down? Almost all the way there. Little break in the hip, and come back up. Okay, how do we find those? We're going to come through and have a look at some comments. How are we finding these? How are we getting on? Toes not too bad. Often when people haven't done it before, it will be like the toes underneath the toe. Yeah, so go slowly with it. Someone's sprayed in Lapos saying his toes, can feeling it in his toes. Slow and steady with these. Few people saying, yeah, good, some thumbs up. Okay, so from that shape, keep building this up. Then we're going to come, what I want us to try and do is we're going to come down as far as you can and then back up. And we're going to do another 5. So control down, but don't break at the hip. Come back up. You see that? Rather than coming here and then breaking, as in flexing at the hip, I'm going to maintain bum on, core on. We're going to come, feel that stretch through the quads to where I can, then drive back up. I'm digging those big toes into the floor as well. That's 3. There's 4. Last one. See if you can go a tiny bit lower. Not breaking the hips, so keeping that straight line. Back up. 5. You don't need to do loads and loads and loads of this. That eccentric strengthening whilst we're lengthening through that shape. You're going to feel it a lot through the quads. Like I said, you can go a little bit wider to help with that position when you're going down. You're not going to feel, or it's not going to require us as much sort of extensibility or flexibility through those quads. Okay, there's a number of messages coming up. Good, just follow along, taking you through these progressions. And as ever, the videos will always be up on the on YouTube playlist afterwards. Okay, so this is about effectively getting used to the load necessary at that bottom position. So that final bottom position, what we're going to do is we're going to come down to here, and I want you to see that in this shape you can lift. You see me lift the toe up? The toe up. One of that. In this shape, can I lift the knee up? Come back up. We're just playing around, so we're not going to worry too much about the reps. We're just going to play with this. So come to the bottom. Can I lift the knee up? Can I lift the knee up? Come back up. As you get to the bottom, lift one knee, lift the other knee. Come back up. It might be, I'll show you, look, I'll go with my knees super narrow or straight down. Hit the wall. into the shape, lift the knee, back up. If I now take my knees a little bit wider, I'm going to be able to come down much lower, lift the knee, back up. The point of trying to lift the knee is just getting you used to, at that bottom position that you're going to try and find on the way down, getting used to being able to find that, or feel what that shape is like, give the brain the chance to go, okay, we're coming down to this bottom position, this is what the load feels like, and we're going one knee coming off at a time, just to make that progressive rather than trying to build both off. So, a few things going on. Bottom of the foot, plantar fascia, big toe flexor is getting stretched and loaded. And you need to be able to progressively build up the ability to do that. If you've never, or for a very long time, haven't really looked at opening that toe up, or the bottom of your foot up, that's going to feel tight, but it's also not going to like it, so it's not going to feel strong in that shape. But it's not a crazy amount of load, it's just our body weight. Next up, the quads. Can the quads control that eccentric lengthening as you lower down? And then the third one is just getting used to that balance point of weight distribution. Your chest and back need to be behind where your feet are so that your knees can be forward. You're going to try and create that seesaw effect if you're ever going to be able to hold that position at the bottom and not necessarily have to put your knees down. We're only slamming the knees down onto the floor. So there's three things that are going on in that bottom position. What we need to work on to piece it all together is being able to come down from the top into that bottom position. But before we do that, which is obviously the hardest thing, we will work on a little bit more of a lengthening at this bottom position. As I mentioned about that sort of seesaw effect of shifting some weight back so the knees can come forward. And then also, as we would always do with any skill development, I'm thinking of this as like a new sort of motor skill, it's a new pattern that you're trying to learn, you haven't done a squat like this before, then rather than trying to go, try and do the whole thing, building you up from the bottom, giving your brain the roadmap of this is where we're coming down to, we will build up how do we get back to the top, because I believe that is an easier regression or version of the exercise before we put the whole thing through in together. Sound good? Okay, and that's going to be a little bit of a break because your quads are going to be on fire. Okay, so just want to explore this weight distribution. We need to, and give yourself a little bit of width with the knees. So spread the knees a little bit outside the hips on this one to give yourself a little bit more of an option. You'll feel it as you go to the bottom of this, so that's what's going to want to happen. So I'm going to come down to the bottom, and then when I go to the bottom, I'm going to try and slide my knees further forward so I can come further back. You see that? So look, if I come, this is where my knee is. If I come to here, that's as far down as I can go. When I slide my knees forward, I can start to get a bit further back. I'm now distributing some weight backwards of where my toes are on the floor, so those knees can be comfortably coming off at the front. Have a play with that. When I say comfortable, my big toes are talking to me, like they're taking a lot of load in their end range position, just like any part of the body or any joint, any muscles that are working. When you ask it to work hard under load, its end range position, it's going to find it difficult, and we need to build that up progressively. So what should make sense is, before we were just coming down to here, now we're going to look at going further back by sliding my knees further forward so I can get myself a little bit lower before coming back to the top. So I have a couple more plays at those. Grab a drink if you need them. And then that's giving us a little bit, we've had a bit of time explained in that bottom position. Mark Bully, brilliantly explained, Jacko. Thank you. I like a seesaw analogy. My takes me back to, I do have a first class honours degree, a Masters of Engineering. Did you know that? So when it comes to engineering, I like to talk about levers and angles. I like to talk about seesaws. They probably didn't call them seesaws at uni. It's a type of lever. I can't remember if it's first, second, or third. I need to check my notes. It's been a while since I've been at uni. Okay, well done. Right. Let's then look at getting out of that bottom position. It's much easier than you think. Okay. And the harder bit is coming down and managing that balance when you're on your toes. But it's good fun. So, and there's a good bit of variation to your lower body training. I think often in the past, I've definitely found that like lower body training gets a bit stagnant when you just stay doing your traditional, normal squats and never venturing anything outside of absolutely perfect positional alignment. Whenever we were learning squats, even as a strength and conditioning coach, when you have your assessment, you have to explain the difference between the weight distribution on the foot and the fact that when we sit back so that we load the glutes, we want the weight distribution to be towards the heels. And if anyone had their heels coming up off the floor, we'd say that's wrong. And then all of a sudden you look in the world of movement and we're talking about sissy squats where we're literally coming forward like that and we're trying to load up because we're exploring some different movement options. All of a sudden it isn't bad for the heel to come off the floor. It's exactly what we want to happen. If I think about some of the positions that we get into when we're running or we're doing like explosive dynamic movements when like I used to play rugby, having some of these options wouldn't have been a bad thing. I wouldn't load up like you would load up your normal back squat. I think I've squatted 160 back in my old rugby days. I wouldn't load up a sissy squat with that type of weight. It's not the point of it. The point of it is having movement options whilst being able to control your own body weight. So a little bit of context for you there, and gives you a little bit of a break. Right, these now we're going to start. These are going to be a little bit harder now. So make sure first and foremost you pull your socks up. If they're white, get them off. If you're coming in late and you've got white socks on, get them off. You'll find out later. Has anyone figured out why? I don't even know. I just don't know. Right. So come down to your bottom position. You go into. We'll go from our easy position first. You're just going to sit on your heels where you are like that. Now, our first starting position we did, to start off with, we were rocking back and forwards, just getting the toes used to it. And then we were sitting in this position. What I want you to do from here is, I just want you to try and get up. Even if you just put your hands on the floor and get up like that. You're like, well, is that it, Jacko? Right. Yeah, that was it. You just did an assisted concentric part of the sissy squat. Slightly. Okay? Come down again. Same thing. You're here. If you were like that to get up, great. But this time, you're going to look to see if rather than in here, can you come a little bit more upright. So look, rather than chesting down here, go more upright. Boom. Just got up. Okay, we call these like sissy squat get-ups. Then from there, can you... Oh, did you see that one? There's a little bit of... These ones are for the dance floor. I got no dance moves whatsoever. But this one, I don't know, I feel like... Whoa. It feels fluid. It wants to be like that. Okay, now you'll look at that and you'll go, so that's basically using the hands less and less and less and less. Lars Brown, brother, touch me. Says he's loving the Hulkamania band now, the first one to it. Then no one else had noticed it. I don't think someone just started sunburn before it. So you'll see with that, if you can get to the point where you're not using your hands, great. And then, yes, a couple of people saying losing balance, that's part of it. You've got to being able to train our balance. It's an essential part of training for life and for movement, for anything. One of the biggest things as we all get older, where we get injured and have problems like hip replacements, is from falling. And if you haven't got good balance, then the whole of your system is going to be out of whack. So if you do lose balance, just make sure you've got somewhere to hold on to and do it safely. But do challenge your balance during your training. Often we think of challenging our balance, we go to single leg stuff. But in this sissy squat, obviously we're on both legs, but all of a sudden we can still challenge our balance quite a lot because we're shifting our weight distribution. And I'm sorry, we're shifting our weight distribution forwards and backwards, which we're just not used to. So the more you do it, the better you get at it. So think about could it be dynamic or slow and controlled? Great question. Ultimately it could be both. When you're learning, I would 100% talk about going slow and controlled. You want to be able to go slow and controlled and then only choose to go fast because you've got the ability to go slow. If that makes sense. So choosing to go fast as a choice because you can go slow if you want to, rather than only going fast because that's the only option you've got. When you try and go slow, you lose your balance, lose control, and fall over. Okay, so let's just revisit that again. We have a little bit of a break. So down to the heels. You're using your hands as least as possible. Can you get rid of your hands altogether? and come back up. It might be, it might be that you, even for some of you, might go one leg, then the other. We want to try and keep things even as much as possible, but just to start with, just to get you used to getting up off the floor. If I lift that one up first, I'm going to lift that one next time, to get yourself getting up off the floor in this sissy squat type position. Okay, we'll do one more. So here, boom. And we talked about going slow. So, that was like my rewind noise. So, those of you that are very, what's the right word? Someone that like looking tentatively. I can't think of the right word. Observant, yeah, will notice that this position, boom, I'm almost, if I set it right down, I'm going to that shape, which is basically going from a kneeling position into the bottom of a deep squat, and then standing up and go. That's not much of a sissy squat, is it, Jacko? Okay. Yes, exactly. Well done, young observer. So our job is, can we get used to kicking those hips up when we get up, rather than dropping the hips back to that squat? So from here, getting it more vertical. So think about that. From here, more vertical, rather than sitting right back down. As that starts to feel good, have a little play with that. You're then going to look at, rather than sitting right back into this hip flexion, we're going to do that sort of start position we talked about before, where we're leaning back a bit more. Hello. That just looks a little bit more like a sissy squat, didn't it? Okay, Lars Brown saying makes sense, good. Yeah, you can get like someone saying they've got a problem with the foot, broken the toe in the past. Yeah, don't, if it hurts because you've got an old injury, this isn't something that you want to try and load up. You need to make sure that you've rehabbed that properly and it's fully recovered before doing that. Mark Smith, I'm adding it to the dance repertoire. Okay, how's that feeling? Is that feeling good? All right. So we need to just look at one of those last positions we got into. So knees a little bit wider, coming down to the bottom. I want you to slide a little bit so you get a little bit lower, and then boom, come back up. But better than that, Jacko, because you just lost your balance backwards. What did we talk about? We talked about going slow, we talked about being in control and not losing your balance. So legs a little bit wider, a little lower at the back. Okay, you feeling that? How are we getting on? Anyone got one of those? Let me know with like a yes, say yes, if you could get up without using your hands on the floor. Give me a yes, give me a thumbs up, give me some level of feedback, because I want to see whether we're ready to open things up. Claire has got a yes. Sue O'Brien got a yes. Cipron, yes. Lauren, yes. Lars Brown, yes. Buffon Bob, yes. Andrew Barnes, yes. All good. Okay. You guys are crushing it. Paul H, yes. Fernando, give me a Delago. Are you from Italy? I love Italy. Emma T, yes. Surfer Boy, yes. RS, yes. Mark Smith, yes. Zahidi, yes. Venice, yes. Spriden Lapos is saying the lying back is making his toes want to detach from his body. Don't go to the point where you're like causing pain. Just go to the point where you can manage it. And over time, like we've only been going 23 minutes. You've got your whole life to build this up. Spain, Fernando, my second favourite country. I'm a big Italy fan. Right. Mark Bully. Yeah, so the further you lie back, the harder it's going to be. Correct. So before we just do that final one then. So some people saying that from here they can get up without putting their hands down. But when you come into this position where you're trying to lie back more, you're finding it a bit harder. Like that's your job is to work on that progression of the difference between me being here and standing up, and the difference between me being here and standing up. Well, you've got everything from here, 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 here. Oh, every time I say here, you've got that. I just moved a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. You've got all of that range to play with as you build up gradually. So don't go from there straight into there and think you're going to be able to just do it if the first one was a little bit taxing. Yeah. So final thing before we jump up to the top is just go and visit that bottom position for me. Go find your best bottom position that feels a little bit, just ever so slightly on the comfortable side of like, this feels horrific. So it's not going to feel like amazing. It's not like you're going to sit down and watch TV doing this. But I want you to just feel that position, log it in your brain. Just what does that feel like? What can you see? What does it feel like? How is my balance going? On my knees, I'm able to like dab my knees off the floor. Just log that, download that to the brain. Good. Great. Keep that image in your head of what that was like. What you could see physically outside of you, but also physically, intrinsically, how did that feel? Because now your job is we're going to go down and find that bottom position. Now, you may want to put a cushion down on the floor because we don't want to bang our knees. The job is not to bang your knee, but you might need, if you've never done this before, you might need a cushion just to control that. So we're going to come down for this position. Your normal squat is hips go back and you break at the hip and you hinge. This way we need to do the opposite. We need to push those hips forward and then we're going to come up onto the toes. Use your hands for counterbalance as you lean back and then you're going to come down, 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 down. Notice how, to start with, I try to find the floor with one knee rather than both, but ideally, so which is a little way for you to make it a little easier for yourself, but gradually what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to come down, 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 and both knees are going to touch on the floor at the same time in that lowest position that I just came up. I wasn't even meaning to. That was just me getting up. So going down so that both knees come down onto the floor at the same time as much as possible. Okay? How are we doing with that? Have a little go at that and then let me know. Lars Hall giving a big thumbs up. Let me know. Give me a this is like the eccentric. If you can, let me type full eccentric if you've managed to do that. Control yourself all the way down and touch the knees down on the floor. Yeah? Give me a full eccentric. Was that too much to type? Ah, Nathaniel's got the sock. Just let me know he's got the socks on. Good man. Emma's yes. Andrew yes. Spridden done it. Lars not super graceful. Cool. Sue has done it. Sue O'Brien, you're smashing it this morning. Surfer boy yes. Paul H full eccentric. Paul H is the only one that's actually. Oh, Andrew Barnes wearing full eccentric. The next live is 11 o'clock tomorrow. All these lives go up on a YouTube playlist so you can follow them back at any time you want. So if you can't do it with us now, follow back later. Okay, so final stage then is literally you've worked that position. It might be that you just work through some partial range. You just get used to coming down a bit and back up. I like to call these just like feelers, just getting used to that balanced position. I'm not like, whoa, not losing your balance. Just getting used to that shape, thinking about that position at the bottom that you downloaded to your mind, and just working down gradually, until you get to your position. Right on. Can I do this without my knees touching on the floor? And come back up. Initially, you're probably going to go all the way down to the floor till your knees touch. Just readjust things, recheck yourself, and then come back up. And then after that, go for one where you aren't even going to touch the floor at the bottom and come right back up to the start. Then that is you redefining your impossible of the Sissy squat in less than 30 minutes. The time on YouTube is at 29 minutes. Pretty excited about that. So let us know. Loz Hall, yes, a full one, I think. Buffon is leaning back more and bingo, nailed it. Great stuff. Yeah, so here, having trouble controlling the speed halfway down, there's that midpoint where you just want to sort of free fall, and that's just making sure that you've got the control through that entire range. Okay, how's everyone else getting on? Just give us a quick check-in. Don't worry if you've missed the live. It's got live. It'll be on YouTube. You can watch back at any time that you want to. So Spider, yes, it's harder when you don't touch your knees down. Exactly, you've got to hold that isometric position at the bottom before coming back up. I can stand up, but the way down is hard to control the knees, not to touch the ground yet. So just, Terry, just take your time, build that up slowly. If you've managed to go all the way down, touch your knees and then come back up, great. And then it's just slowly working those feelers, as I call them, of being able to come down and not need the support of the floor. Yeah, Lars is finding that free falling happening late in the drop. So work slower, Lars. Work slower, and then you're going to feel like that. You're going to need to work through that position where you need to have, getting there good. You're going to have to just explore this. It's going to come a lot quicker than if you've never done this before. It's going to come a lot quicker than you think because it's just you're learning, brand new pattern. Mainly, the big thing is we have the strength in the quads to be able to support our own body weight. The main thing is flexibility through the bottom of the foot and the big toe flexor. And then just getting used to that weight distribution of leaning back and then your knees going forward. It's just a very alien position. You feel like you're going to fall back and then you want to shoot forward. And so it's just finding that shape and giving yourself a chance to feel that balanced position. RS25046, Sean Wooten, saying close, give me a week and I'll have it. Good. That's a great attitude because look, rather than just thinking he has to nail it right now, he's going to go away and work on some of those little progressions that I've shown us, and then come back and think he's going to probably get it in a week. And if it's a week or if it's 2 weeks, it doesn't matter. Like what matters is that building up these things progressively. So I'm going to go through and just recap some of those things. We are looking at those 2 things: movement and strength. That's what we talk about with our framework of School of Calisthenics. Is movement? Can you control and explore new ranges of motion? We're doing that definitely here, particularly down at the toes, and we're exploring a different range of motion in terms of that shape of leaning back in the bottom of our sissy squat, and say the bottom, and then the big toe flexor, bottom of our foot, and then the strength. Have you got the strength to control yourself through this range, particularly through those quads as they're eccentrically being loaded on that descent? Okay, so just to recap some of the things I want you to work on: getting used to taking some load and also range to be about through the bottom of those feet. So it might be that if you've got a little muscle, I've got a massage ball. Hold on a second. So if you've got like a massage ball, you can stand on that and you can work into the bottom of that plantar fascia. So anything around the bottom here, that big toe flexor, it's going to help loosen it up. You're then going to look at trying to open up those toes. So we did some rocking, but also I want you to be able to load into those, not just in this sat upright position, but actually getting better at going out here and walking those feet, walking those knees further forward and you leaning further back. The better, the more normal you can make that bottom position feel and the brain happy to go to it. When you're coming down through those descents, it's going to be better, it's going to be more comfortable trying to find it. Okay. After that, we had trying to not use your hands to get up out of that bottom position and just get used to that different motion of being up on our toes and not losing our balance. We looked then at, once you've got that, can you start from a position where you're much more like that sissy squat, leaning back and standing up before finally getting ready for the whole thing, but just work on some feelers first before you go down into those lower positions. And that was without touching, but obviously to start with, you can go through some touching of your knees down on the floor before reassessing, then coming back up. So, Spride and Lapos, quads shaking. Okay, Loz Hall is like a yeah, maybe a client should do it. Yeah, quite, but you're going to get there. Good stuff. No elegance, but it's coming. Okay. Right, final thing for me is just like a massive thank you guys for following on with this. Something very different to what I've done on the Mondays. Claire did one. Awesome work. Yeah, following along with that, I get so encouraged by the fact that you guys and girls out there, you join us and you embrace it and you're up for just trying new things. I find it so inspiring and encouraging. So thank you, like everyone there that was connecting, particularly commenting. I thank you for the hearts, particularly commenting there. Clearly, like you'd never tried these before, and you were one, trusting me to take you through it, and two, like doing an awesome job, and each finding where you are on that level and knowing that, right, I've got the tools to work through those next progressions, those next levels, and I'm going to be able to build this up to eventually being able to do them. And I love the fact that we are together embracing, like moving outside of the norm. So not just moving in the same way that we've always done. And here's a squat variation that lets you do something different. So thank you, Loza. Thank you, Fernando. Thank you, Mark Bully, all you guys on YouTube, everyone on Instagram as well. It's been an absolute pleasure. Remember, Lars Brown, let me know when you make it to the States. Yes, we've got big plans to come to the US, and we need to let this little thing called COVID get out of the way first. But yes, we do have big plans. Sue O'Brien, sound like you smashed it. Thank you so much. Lynn Tan, thanks as well. So yeah, if you enjoy these lives, remember you can watch them all back. We've got over 40 now on the YouTube channel. So if you're not watching on YouTube and haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, get over to YouTube and subscribe. We're getting close to 90,000 subscribers on YouTube. We're trying to get to 100,000. When we reach 100,000, we're going to give one lucky subscriber a full year VIP membership to the virtual classroom worth £250. So do make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, because that gives you the chance to win that £250 prize of a full VIP online membership to our school virtual classroom. So head over to YouTube and subscribe. Tomorrow is Jude and at 11 a.m. Tim is 9:30 on Wednesday. We've got Georgie on Thursday doing pancake routine for you. I'm very looking forward to following along with that one. And then Coach Owen is here on Friday to bring us home for the end of the week. If you want updates and notifications of when all the lives are, make sure that you've joined our WhatsApp notification system, which you just need to text. You just need to send a WhatsApp message, not a text message, a WhatsApp message saying, I want to join, to +44 7883 161 433. I'll type it in on YouTube so people can see it. It's in the description for YouTube. +44 7883 161 433. Send a WhatsApp message, I want to join, if you want to get the WhatsApp notifications of when all those lives are taking place. Final thing to say, remember, we still have during lockdown, Bodyweight Basics is absolutely free, so you can still use that during lockdown. That's our sort of one of our beginner programs that used to be part of a £40 bundle that we've made free for everyone. So do check that one out if you haven't yet. And then remember that we're currently still at the same time doing a 50% off our online memberships. That's where you get access to all of our online programs inside the virtual classroom. So do check that out if you haven't yet. I know lots of you have signed up recently, which has been great to see you in there, and the progress you guys are making following those online programs as part of your online membership has been amazing to see, and look forward to seeing more of you in there very soon. Yeah, so that's 50% off those online memberships. Check those out. All the details for that, if you're on Facebook, you see it on the Facebook feed. If you're on Instagram, you'll see the links in our profile. And if you're on YouTube, all the links are just in the description. Thank you all again for watching. I've been Jacko, aka Hulkamania today, because unlike Hulk Hogan, who doesn't like sissies, we like sissy squats. Class dismissed.